Well, good evening, Star Wars fans. Unfortunately, hold on. Let me fix this really quick. Uh, got something going on with. Oh, there we go. Discord is being a little bit of a pain, but looks like everything's good to go now. So, good evening, Star Wars fans. Got another exciting episode of Holotheatre. Got some interesting stuff to talk about. We're going to talk about Texas Mini Worlds. We got Robbie on that for tonight. We also got Scott Lingrell. Scott volunteered to come on tonight as our guest because he's got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about with what the PC is doing. So, uh, I want to thank Scott for coming on. Scott, what do you want to let the viewers know?
Well, I think the biggest thing we want to start off with is, well, first off, thanks for having me back. Hopefully I can do this. I love doing this, so it's nice to be able
Mm-hmm.
to be on. I think the biggest thing is that, so let's go back, 2014? I think we did the reset, and
Okay.
obviously we know that GEMP was worked on at that time by, one of our volunteers, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, they started putting all the cards in. But the problem was he was the only one that did it at the time. And then about a year ago, he handed it off to our tech team with one goal in mind, making this public. So that anybody in the public that likes the game, that says, hey, look, there's a card that's not in the game yet that I want to code. We are now open source. So GEMP is now an open
Mm-hmm.
source project. So it's on GitHub. It's out there. It's just github.com/players committee. So you can see the
Okay.
projects, and you can go in, and if there's a specific card that you want to have in GEMP, you can go in and do the Tusken Raider or the Jawa that maybe
Mm-hmm.
isn't in there yet. You can then put the code in, make sure it works. Our GEMP team will go ahead and then upload it once they check it. So it's nice that somebody with their technological skills can now
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and do this. So that's a big thing. I know we've got other projects that we're working on, and those will be added into the GitHub over time, like the deck builder stuff and
Mm-hmm.
some of the other things. But right now, having GEMP open source as of, I guess, yesterday or the day before is really an awesome thing.
Yeah, and so when you're saying open source, that means that if I decide I want to go on and put a card in, like a card that I know I'm missing, and I can do that, and then the GEM team will just go, oh, make sure everything looks like it's coded correctly,
Yep.
and we can have that card being played, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but sometime in the near future.
No, right away. So here's the thing. So if there's a bug fix, an improvement to GEMP, a missing card, a new feature, whatever, and they know how to code it, they
Mm-hmm.
put it in. Our GEMP team will make sure it's coded right, and then immediately the next reset, the next day, it'll be in there.
Okay, so.
So I'll give you an example. So we've talked about, and this is something that we've talked about, but there are some people in our community that aren't the best visually. They have some vision issues, so
Mm-hmm.
playing online is tough. So we've talked about a way to make certain sections of the screen zoom in for that player to see the cards better. So if somebody knew
Okay,
how to do that, they could go in, they could do it, they could upload it, and it would be good to go.
interesting. Yeah,
So
that's
any type of idea.
so anything to make. So at this point, any idea that the community is willing to do to help out, the PC is more than willing to at least let people listen or to listen to the people. Okay.
Right, right. And if you don't mind, I'll kind of jump into something else. So one of the
Mm-hmm.
things that we had to do is, obviously Robbie with Texas Mini Worlds, and we'll go into that in a second, but he kind of stepped up and said, "Hey, well, let's run the event." But also we had, I think it's Scott Rick 49. He's a PC. That's his name on the forums. He came up with a new app called Comlink. So the
Okay.
idea is Comlink is in the Google Play Store. So if you go in there, you can then get the app,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a database search tool. So he said, listen, I like the game and I want to go in. There you go. And you can see, you can do a search by game text, by lore, by card type. And then it brings up all the cards that fit that out. So this is just somebody that we've
Mm-hmm.
never really gone to him and
Yeah.
said, hey, can you do this? but he built this app called Comlink that's on Google Play right now for
So
free.
it's only on Google Play. So anybody who has an iPhone, unfortunately, it's not available for them.
I don't know.
So
I think he tried to get it on the Apple Store and was having issues with it. I seem to recall that from that thread, but
oh, okay. Yeah, and
I'm
you
not-
know what? I like it. I actually just downloaded it.
Yep.
This is the first time I'm hearing about it, and I know people can't see, but I just did like a search for Darth Vader, and you can see like it has the images. You can click on it. You can see the image.
Well, and then when you click on it, Dan, you can then swipe left and right to go to the other cards.
Yeah, and I like that. You can rotate it so that way. This is cool. Like it's a nice little app. I like this. It's something that we've needed. I know that there was the Holotheatre one that people had, but it was a little. It wasn't as refined as this one. It looks like.
We also had that other one that like John and John Anderson had worked on as well, and this is kind of taking that and turning it into a mobile device. Where I think the other one was website only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And Scott Rick 49, I think he's from the Minnesota area.
Okay,
so
good.
He's been in our community for 11 years. So,
wow.
To have him do this, just wanted
That's
to do
insane. I love it.
So it's good that, the community is involved in doing these things, and I think stuff like this is a good thing. But yeah, just go right now, Comlink to a Google Play Store and search for it. Go for it. Have fun with it.
Yeah, it seems like it's a nice little thing. I mean, you can have that like in a tournament because I know in tournaments we allow Japanese cards, so this would be an easier way to look up the cards' game text.
The tournament rule says you're not supposed to pull out your phone though.
Right.
But you could, like the tournament director would be able to have it on theirs, or the rules person there would be able to easily find the card and pull it up and show everybody the text.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
But Scott does bring up a great point that this is somebody that decided to do this on their own and started doing it, and then reached out to the PC through the forums and said, "Hey, I've got this going," and they just did it. And then Scott and Matt Carulli and some of the other advocates will jump in and show them how to get more exposure and give them any help they need. And that's something that is really great about the leadership team that we have here. I wanted to run Texas Mini Worlds because I just wanted to run an event, and Scott and everybody on the leadership team really stepped up and backed me up on whatever I needed to do to run it. And it can be like that for GIMP. I mean, GIMP was a forum member that somebody literally just posted on theirs one day saying, "I'm doing this." And I remember at the time we all were like, "There's no way you're finishing it." And then it did, and look where it is now. And now we have Comlink, and the VKit tool where we print out virtual cards, maybe in the future again one day. That was
it does work. It does work.
No,
I think.
Use it.
I think Robbie's talking about COVID.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying VKit though was designed by a player that recognized the need.
Mm-hmm.
And the PC was willing to host it, and we made it more visible to everybody. I mean, I'm sure Scott remembers, but we used to all message Jeremy and be like, "Hey, can you create this PDF for me of just these cards I need?" I sent Jeremy probably $200 worth of cards at one point as a thank you for always creating PDFs for me when I needed to print just certain ones out. So
I remember when Lee Edwards made that device, that app, and then on the website, and then Tom Marlin basically took it to the stratosphere and added just a lot more to it. And now we've got it on the website and all that. But you're right. Hopefully one day we'll be able to do it. But it's much easier now. Getting white border, black border slips, you just go in there and do it.
Yeah, and it's nice to have avenues, and I think a lot of people that want to help don't realize you just got to put out there what you can and can't do.
Exactly.
And, everybody here is willing to support each other to try to push through things that are needed. Just using Texas Mini Worlds as an example again. the amount of people streaming for this, we usually struggle getting volunteers, for
Yeah.
events to help us out. And we've had zero shortage of commentators. I mean, I think at one point during the main weekend, we had 5 streams going. That I
Yeah.
never would have thought we would have had that kind of support from,
Uh,
past events and stuff that we've run.
mhm.
So, it's really easy to step up if you want to.
And that's the thing is, like, people need to, at this point, it's just, if you want to do something, get in touch with somebody. I know Scott's easily, you can get a hold of him, get a hold of me. I mean, I'm working with the marketing
Or me.
team, or Robbie,
Yeah.
or
I
if
mean,
you,
I may not know, I may not be in that area where you want to do it, but I can point you in the direction of who
Mhm.
to do it, who does that area.
And exactly, that's what people need to realize is the PC. You just got to talk to somebody, and they'll point you in the right direction. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, I love this idea. I love the fact that we have an app now. Like,
Yeah.
that's when things become cool. Like, you have an app.
Well, and speaking from Magic background, I've run large PTQs, 120 person PTQs, and having the Gatherer app, which is what Magic uses, that's similar to
Yeah.
Comlink. I was able to pull up cards and read the exact text that Wizard says the card is supposed to do, and they even have common rulings and things like that for you on there. And man, it is a tremendous help to be able to just pull out your phone and go, all right, here's that card, here's the actual text of the card, because sometimes the cards,
Yeah.
especially in our game, have been changed, errated and whatnot. And being able to pull up that exact text and go, oh, all right, this is what you're trying to do. No, you can't do it because it's actually changed to this.
Yeah.
Like we had one year at Indoor, this was back with CCT was kind of being big with IG and stuff. It was kind of newish, and somebody picked up the Frozen Captive with a different character and was trying to move it, I think, to the audience chamber. And Tom Kelly reached out and he called the judge for me to come over and rule on how to exchange the Frozen Captive, because you can usually only do it at certain spots. But there's a spot in the AR that's so random where it is, and it was just like, I had to message Greg Zinn, Burgle, and he told me where it was, but I mean, it was buried. So having Comlink to be able to see rules and things possibly in the future would be really awesome.
Agreed.
Well, I'll talk real quick about the deck builder database that I guess we announced about 5 weeks ago that we've been working on. And one of the things that we've been doing behind the scenes is getting the permissions and usernames and stuff. But the goal is eventually to start having rulings on it and kind of have all the best of all these apps in this deck builder website with rulings and V kits, and heck, if the card's there, you can link to the store to buy it. We're trying to do everything with that, right? So it's kind of building on building with anything, right? The first versions come out, we tweak it, we see what we like, and go from there. But like the tournament software, right? So Tom Marlin set that up. We've got all these resources. The trick is, just continuing to grow and build on them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember that tournament software when it was being built, and it saved us, I think, 2 or 3 hours at Worlds in 2016, which was the first big event we really used it at.
Yeah.
It was a tremendous resource at that time, just trying to manage 64 players in the same room.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We used to print them off and stuff, and now with mobile apps, you don't need to do that, right? It's much easier to just say that the results are up. But hey, Dan, you guys really did a great job coordinating all the streamers and all the Twitch people for the Texas Mini Worlds. What's going on with that? How's that been so far?
It looks like with round 2 of the top 16 now in effect, we have a lot of streamers who are volunteering for the. Robbie is posting up the matches as players are determining what time they want. So easiest thing to do for people is to go on to the forums, check out, see when people are going to be playing. If you want to sign up, get a hold of Robbie or myself, and then we can go from there. We do have a bunch of people who are volunteering already, but at this point, if you want to do commentary, it's just get a hold of somebody. I know I'm doing commentary for the Bill Kafer Joe Olsen match this Friday at, I want to say it's 9 a.m.
It's
or
9 a.m. I think your time. I think it's
yeah,
12:30 Eastern. So,
yeah.
Oh, in the
So
East Coast.
yeah, so at 9 a.m. my time, so 12 on the East Coast. So if somebody wants to join me, I would be more than willing to help them, like to welcome them on and be like, hey, let's get on Discord. We can easily come on. We can stream this. It's going to be a fun match. Bill and Joe, they're both. Joe has had a history of top eights, making the top cut at MSL every tournament. Bill is a more recent.
Bill,
ge-
Bill
Uh,
was my safest bet not to make this spot, and yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, Bill did have an easy first round opponent.
He played you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I mean, like I said, if you want to do commentary, we're always looking for more people to do commentary, and it's not hard. You just sit here and you just tell people what's going on in the game. You make funny jokes as you want. It's fun. Like I enjoy it. It's real. It's a little bit. I mean, it actually helps you become better at the game as you watch people play, because then you
Yeah, and
can.
you're gonna be watching, good players play. And that's.
I like how you said almost better players, but
Well,
still.
I was trying to phrase it nicely.
Uh huh. Uh huh. Well, I, like we said, Bill beat me, so
I mean, you made top 16. I didn't make top 16.
you ran the event.
So,
But yeah,
but
it's
yeah,
going to be
so
interesting.
we have the top 8 is you're doing the Joe and Bill match on Friday, which
Mm-hmm.
is 9:30. I think 9:30 or 9, something like that.
Something, yeah.
And then on Thursday night we're having a double header. Me and Jeremy DePaulo should be doing the stream, I think, for that one,
Excuse
and
me.
it'll be MHT versus Desai as the first game, and then Shaw versus Lutz for the second game.
It looks like they're not back to back, but it looks like the Desai MHT game starts at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern, and then the Matt Lutz Greg Shaw starts at 9:30 Eastern.
Right.
So
we'll have a little bit of a period where we're likely covering both games, but
yeah,
we're
well,
planning on doing back to back and just jumping in.
yeah. If
Well,
we're looking,
Matthew's in New Zealand?
yes,
He could only play at a certain time, and so I didn't even know he was over in New Zealand. But when he wants to come back and play, I'm not going to tell him no. So.
Oh, of course, yeah. And I know, listen, it's tough, right? People have life, and it's nice that everyone's been so accommodating.
Right.
I will say that the pod event was great because if somebody had a certain block of time they could play, hey, let's go ahead and do it. Remind me of the World Series of Poker, how they have the 2 or 3 days where they have that first event. I know Worlds had to be postponed, but in November or December, I believe, we're shooting for something similar where we're going to have multiple day ones in different pods with people moving on from there.
Right.
Okay.
And one suggestion I've posted this a couple times to people is to try to be a lot more open with Worlds. Like I ran mine last minute, and so I tried to accommodate people a lot more with their schedules. But it was really hard to always create a perfect balance.
Yeah.
In the pods because I was accommodating time spots far more than probably was necessary. Some people could be more open on all day kind of things versus others, and try to be mindful of that. If you can be more open, try to be, so it makes it easier on whoever is trying to balance all this out to do so.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
And it really didn't help that for this event you had a few people sign up at the last minute. And I mean, at least they were accommodating and realized that because they were signing up so late, they were more than willing to get into a pod where they might not have wanted to be, but
right. The 2 West Coast guys starting at 3 a.m. on Sunday, I felt for, but that was the only spot I had, and at that point, I mean, you know, Dan, because you and I were talking about the pods all week. The amount of times I reorganized the pods just to try to accommodate people. I looked at it, I was like, look, I want you guys to play, but please, you got to play this time. And it worked out, and I'm very thankful that they were, more flexible with that.
Agreed. And it worked out. I mean, from what I understood, talking to those people, the two players who were in that 3 a.m. pod, I know one of them didn't go to bed. The other one probably did wake up and got ready. But I mean, they both played rather well. So
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, everybody I think had fun, and that was the most important thing to that event. You know, World
agreed.
is a little bit different. We don't care if you have fun. You know, we're trying to crown a world champion. But
Well, I mean,
Yeah, right.
I think for like Scott, myself, other players, it's going to be fun versus like a Bastion, a Justin Desai. It's like they're trying to become a 3-time or a 4-time world champ.
I hope I get to play in it in some way if I can. But you know, I've told Scott and everybody I'll happily run it. I don't mind if nobody else wants to step up. I've done it time and time again. So
Yeah,
Well, I'm sure we've got some time to figure it out.
we do,
I mean,
thankfully.
you know, I told Scott, I was like, I know my place in the community. It's not to win events. It's to probably run them. So, you know.
No. Now, how did we're what, up to the top 8 right now?
Yes.
With the event? Okay.
Yeah.
And then because we started with what, 63, 64?
Exactly.
Went to the
4.
and then cut to the top 16
Right.
and played 2 games?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we had 2 weeks. I gave everybody 2 weeks to play their match of 2 games. And then I'm doing that for the top 8. And I'll probably do that for the top 4 and top 2 as well. Give them some time to try. I mean, they probably won't need it, but I don't want to change the rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, you know, everybody has stuff going on. We're getting towards Labor Day this weekend, which, you know, people are going to be out of town on. I know, like, Kessling is going out of town this weekend, so giving him that second weekend to be able to play was really big for him.
Yeah.
And, you know, the whole point of this is we're trying to play around our lives versus, you know, just trying to play a tournament where we travel for.
I agree.
Yeah, and
I agree.
you know what? I haven't heard any complaints from the players or anybody who has watched on it. So you know, as long as everybody is having a good time, as you said, you know, I can see like it's kind of nice because with GIMP and everything, we wouldn't be able to have this right now. I mean, Holotheatre is a good tool for what it was. GIMP has now Holotheatre. Sorry.
It has a very high steep learning curve, but
yes,
you know, once you got it, it wasn't that bad. It was It's like the old MTG workstation, you know, where you know you just play and run with it. And it wasn't bad. It had some connection issues every now and then, which is something nice that GIMP has been a lot better on. I know we've had lag the last couple of times, the last couple of weekends, but hopefully we can figure that out and make it better.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we have 32 players playing at maybe at a one-time point, and that's not including the players who are playing who are not in the event. So it being able to hold that many people on it is showing that it is a reliable tool, and we can have hopefully like a world tournament essentially.
And there's some learning curve with it. I mean, you know, we have to figure out where that magic threshold that's right for our community is. You know, even for big companies like Wizards of the Coast, Arena and Magic Online both were heavily laggy in the early days until we figured out that sweet spot, and it just took time.
I do know real quick. I know we increase our server potential on the times that we know it's going to be crazier. So we just go to our server, we up the speed, and that helps, or the resources. That makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
I mean, there's obviously still something in there. You know, it's not 100% that the resources being upped is going to fix everything. Just to let everybody know, it's not that the PC isn't upping the resources the right amount. There's you know, something else potentially going on as well that, you know, it takes time to dig into, and you can't really dig into it when it's not happening.
Exactly.
So, you know, it's you can only dig into it when it's happening and see where the actual resources are failing, and then you make changes from there. You know, the PC definitely has been trying to upgrade GIMP as much as they can to reduce that lag. So.
Yeah.
And we'll continue to do that. And that's again why being open source is so awesome, because if somebody has an idea, they can do that. So that's what it's all about.
And if somebody finds like a bug in it that's actually causing the resource drain potentially, I mean, that wouldn't be unheard of either. You know, great.
Well, that was the issue with Beggar, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Beggar just crashes the server. It doesn't actually, like, as soon as something happens, I don't remember what the exact cause was, but I told Karuli and the GIMP team, I was like, look, if there's something that actually crashes a server, it could be somebody that's just messing around, not even in the event, that crashes the event and it interrupts it. We can't have that.
Yeah.
There's certain bugs you can have, and that was just crossing the line that you can't do. But there could be something with the way the code is written where it's not as clean in some spots that somebody can come in and easily go, oh, look, you've got redundant code here. We can clean that out and make it more efficient. So
we can blame people like Jeremy, or why not, right? It seems like it works. No. That's just how it is. So Dan, you were talking about spoilers earlier before we started. I guess somebody is it too late to go into that, or should we go into something else?
Spoilers? I mean, if people want to know a spoiler, I'm more than willing to. Apparently, Chris Kelly has allowed us to discuss one. So, for those who are watching, this is going to be the newest Set 13. We've already had, 2 spoilers?
I don't know.
I know we've had, Kendall, Coran, Hallman, he had one on his show, Rock, for those who are interested in it. And I want to say there was one more, but I'm not 100% on which one it was. But we do have so there was, we have a player in the chat who said there was 3. So here's number 4. So for those who are interested, our spoiler is Leia's Resistance Transport. I actually have it over Scott right now, so
that's okay.
So here, let me pull it up. It's a.
You can keep it right over me.
No, you have the Hall of Fame T-shirt on. You're the only one of us that has that.
True. So Leia's Resistance Transport is a Destiny 3 starship. The underlying card is to be determined. It is a capital resistance transport, power 3, armor 4, hyperspeed 3. May add 2 pilots, 5 passengers. Permanent pilot provides ability of 2. Deploys and moves like a starfighter. When deployed, may deploy a resistance female aboard for free from reserve deck. Reshuffle. Deploys 3, forfeit 5, and it has your standard starship stuff of the pilot, resistance, nav computer, scomp link, and it's episode 7, set 13 card.
Can I just real quick? You see that layout? That I just want to thank the proofers, right? Because the proofing team, they're the ones that make everything look so pretty and in order. And I just looking at that, it's beautiful.
It's a lot cleaner than where we're used to be.
Yeah.
so
yeah, that's spoiler number 4. So we've had so far, Hans Dice, the executor site, Rock, and now Leia's Resistance Transport. So if you're wondering what this is essentially that card, the starship from episode 8 when they're leaving the Radis to go to Crate. That's right. Yeah. So it looks like something like that. So for people who want to imagine what it looks like and everything, that's what we're looking at. I like it. I mean, you can go any resistance female. Obviously, there's Leia. You got Holdo, Lieutenant Connix, which you can now shuttle from that ship to the ground for free. So that's an interesting one.
You also
I
have
saw Holdo
Rose.
in Texas in one of the online events. I saw Holdo use her text for the first time. The Destiny was +10 against somebody. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting to see, some of these cards get used more and more as time goes along. And people are figuring out, oh, this actually can win that one battle. You sometimes just need to win.
Yeah.
And
It reminds me of Shot in the Dark. So the original Shot in the Dark, before they errated it, said, "Look, I'm going to lose half the cards but I'm going to draw half the cards in one turn. I don't care if I lost half my deck." So it's about resources. So
Yeah.
I love the Holdo. It kind of says, "Hey, listen, I'm going to win this one battle." So I like the ability to use it with that, with her. That would be nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So
Talking about the new cards, I'm curious because with the new themes, right? So some of the new themes that I saw, I know they're focusing a little bit on the Solo movie.
yes.
So it's pretty cool to see the criminals, the crime syndicate stuff is going to be in the new set. I don't know any spoilers yet, but it's pretty cool. And I'm assuming since it's based on Solo, we're going to see, some of the characters from there, like Kira and so forth.
Yeah.
And then also I know that they're bringing some of the dark side characters from Rebels, the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool to see, watching Rebels. I'm assuming the Inquisitors we see the one card that we have, it kind of follows. So it's kind of like they're in a race or they're in a hunt to find them. So it kind of makes me think of, the Rebel show. It does a really good job. So I'm curious to see how they're going to build those two themes. I don't know. Is there anything in those themes that you'd like to see?
Well,
I mean, there's also the Inquisitors were also in the new Jedi video game. That came
yes.
out.
Yeah.
And I believe they were also in Clone Wars as well.
No.
I'm on season 1 with it right now.
For Clone Wars.
Yeah, Clone Wars.
So the Inquisitors were on Clone Wars. They were strictly rebels.
Okay.
I thought they were in the new season, the last one that just came out.
No.
Was it not? Okay.
No.
Because they went to like season 6 or 7. Just
Robbie, stop talking because we don't want to spoil it for Scott.
We don't want to spoil anything.
Scott will, he'll ban you or something.
We're okay. But yeah, I really like them in Rebels.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on, Dan. You were talking about some of the themes.
Well, I mean, we were talking about like with Rebels and with Solo. One of the bigger cards, one of the bigger characters that was included in both of those themes was a certain dark Sith Lord who I'm not going to mention because I'm going to be a little bit cryptic as I can.
Yes.
So we might be able to say like,
spoilers.
Hey, spoiler alert! There might be a new version of said character.
Dark Plagueis the Wise.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't remember his name, but yeah, that's a new one. And we're talking about the Inquisitors. I mean, we already have the Grand Inquisitor.
Right.
What is he missing, weapon-wise? So maybe we'll see one of those. I want to see some like the more interesting locations from Rebels. We do know Chris Kelly has gone on record saying that Ezra is going to be a bigger part. So if you're looking to play more Ezra, well, this is your chance now.
Very cool.
Outside of that, hey, Mike. Hey, maybe you're just a hater.
I think when I think of the criminal syndicate, I'm curious. I want to see, is his ship going to be in it? I want to see, the casino, right? Because we've got the nightclub, we've got the cantina. I'm curious if that site's going to be in there. I'm curious if, I saw they changed the Han Solo gun to deploy in a Beckett, so it'd be cool to see some of that.
Yeah.
And who knows? I mean, you think back when they came out with the Rebels stuff, it's taken some time to get out with stuff, right? Like I know a couple sets ago we brought out the CPI stuff. I know a couple sets ago we brought out the every couple sets we'll bring out a Rebel here or a Rebel there, or the No Idea deck that has different people that work with it. With the what was that movie, Rogue One? So it's cool to see them coming out with some ideas, and I thought Solo was a great movie, so I'm really curious how that dark side stuff's going to look.
Yeah,
I mean, we also got Ghost, and we got Hera, who's a staple in a lot of decks right now.
Yeah, I really like the droid too, and I know with Texas, Sabine was used for the shirts and stuff that were given out.
So, speaking of the droid, like I want to make Chopper into a rebel. Come on. I know he's like, we
Is
gotta.
Chewie a rebel?
Yes, Chewie's a
He's got
rebel.
a couple of them. He's usually an alien / rebel, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, that's just his original one. The rest are just straight rebels. What I'm saying is, like, all the rest of those, the Ghost crew essentially are rebels. Why not make Chopper
Chopper one?
into a droid rebel? I mean,
is R2 a droid rebel?
no,
No.
but R2's.
Grievous is not a droid either.
But yeah, Grievous is not a droid, but he's not a droid, really. I mean,
guess
he's
Vader
like
isn't,
he's a he's a cyborg. But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, like,
Vader's more man than machine. Remember,
I've
Scott?
heard.
We had the card.
Yeah.
or more machine than man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
More.
Yeah, Chopper's pretty cool though. He does a good job. Right. I mean, listen, you can only go so far with the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still think to this day the Rebels and the Rebels from Rebels and the Rebels from No Idea from Rogue One, those are the best cards I think that we've ever designed. I love them, how they work. When they die, they have the cantrip, or when you are with two Rebels or an Imperial on the other
Yeah.
side. I think those are excellent cards. So it's cool to see these themes continue to grow.
Oh, I agree, and I want to see, like, I would love to see some helpers for those rebel cards, because I mean
No
we don't.
idea.
I'm not saying those specifically. I'm saying like the rebels from Rebels. Like, we don't see a lot of, like, we see Kanan here and there. We see Hera. I mean, she's an insanely good card, but Sabine here and there. Ezra mostly in No Idea. When was the last time somebody played Zeb? Seriously, he doesn't see
I
any
know.
play. So
Yeah. And I think K2SO kind of sees a little less play as well at times,
Yeah.
and I really like him.
yeah.
But if you help him out, you're probably helping out No Idea, so we probably shouldn't do that.
Well, I mean,
had a deck that ran 3PO combo that pulls bad feeling cards, and you play the bad feeling
Okay.
card with K2SO that keeps doing direct damage, and he can't take any battle damage. Granted, he dies and goes out of play, but there's some great ideas.
yeah.
Well, I do know, Dan and Robbie, I'll tell you, obviously there's concerns about No Idea and how's that going to interact with the new site. I do know that Chris told me the competitive balance team kind of are looking at things. I don't know if they're going to make a change, what they're going to make a change for, but they're always looking at it. And really, at the end of the day, right, we're getting more games played from play testing, from events that we've ever had play. We haven't had a new set out in a while, and yet the games at Texas Mini World were much different than they were at the match play.
Right.
A lot of new cards. Just even without new cards, people are coming up with new ideas. And I think that they're constantly seeing, can the meta evolve? Can you find a way to answer that question? I remember back in the day, we had the, what was it? Combat Coruscant CRV deck. And the idea is they'd start the anti-Gick effect because the light side rebels, they were like all those power 2 rebels that were all power plus 2 or something. So there's ways sometimes for the meta to adjust, but I do know that Chris said they're looking in things and they're going to take a hard look at it. So they want to make it more enjoyable for everybody.
Good. Yeah, and I think that's
one thing that I wanted to add to Scott was we also have Echo Base Trooper on the forums posting literally and actual hard facts with winning percentages, matchups, and he's even taking it to the level with ranking players and showing the decks being played by certain levels of players. And we have more data than we've ever had to know when there is a problem and when there isn't. And like what Scott said, the meta does adjust. And like I know today on the forums, CCT came up as a potential issue, but it's one of those things where it's like, let's see how things shake out. Like, nobody was planning for CCT in Texas Mini Worlds, really. It wasn't the big bad guy for the dark side decks. ISB was. Yeah. And so more people, or Court, or something, and more people, I know, like Taco Bill planned for Watto. But, more people were playing for those than CCT, so CCT has had a really high win rate in the last few months because it's kind of unexpected, and people are playing things like Lieutenant Blount, non-V, as a answer to ISB, or
Kraken.
Kraken
Was
or
played to do direct
Yeah.
damage, I heard.
yeah, like there's things like that are being played that people take for granted, that are shutting down ISB, but they aren't so good against CCT.
Yeah.
And so the meta will kind of shift as people adjust. And I'm glad that Chris Kelly and our D&D and CBT teams aren't just rushing to, make changes. They're taking hard looks
Yeah.
with the data and watching things evolve. And, while something may seem overpowered now, with a new set of cards or just players making some changes, things change.
And
Go on, Dan.
I was going to say, I don't think CCT itself is a problem. I think the bigger problem lies in the broken concentration and Ritik card, especially Ritik. Ritik is not a fun card to play against. And don't get me wrong, it's a good little Jawa, and I love him. I play him in my CCT. I love doing that. But when you literally can play in a differential situation, like say the pods that we just had, and you have Vritik broken concentration, and your opponent decides, okay, I need to draw up, so I don't, and you can't draw up, so you're literally sitting there every turn. You activate your one, your opponent decides to put it back onto your reserve deck during your control phase or anything. You can't draw up, and they can just keep retrieving with CCT. That I think is the bigger problem. So,
well, two things I want to state real quick. One is to go back to the ISB. I randomly today found a good card. I was playing a light side space deck, and I played Coruscant from Special Edition, and I put a Rebel there, and ISB was paying +2 for all its Imperials.
Okay.
So that was pretty interesting. The other thing I will say is, broken concentration by itself is a problem, right? And when we did the reset, the first card in the reset was Eric White, right? So that's the card that we named in honor of him. It's tough, right? It's a good card, and obviously we do what we have to do. But you're right, that broken concentration and hidden base flip have always been an issue. And then you can utilize Mara with broken concentration or CCT with broken concentration, with Luke V with hidden base. I mean, there are ways to always lock out the opponent, but you're right, it is tough because you can take 2 of their cards away with Ritik and broken concentration.
Right.
Because you're using the one they have to place the other back. So now you got to keep 3 cards, and then they play a Jawas whatever effect for the 3 cards. So there are ways around it. Listen, obviously, I think that's one of the things that they're looking at, right? I don't know if they're looking at that specifically, but they're looking at all these issues, right? And I'm not saying everyone's going to start playing Lightside Coruscant to stop ISB, or they're going to play Kraken. When you need to start doing that, that's not really the best option.
Right.
True.
But, you can do some things, right?
And
try them out.
And like Scott's saying, it's really hard with the retake because it's for one of our players that passed away, and it's his memorial card. And it's cool that he loved Jawas, and so it's cool to actually have a Jawa for him see so much play. And it sucks because it's an actual problem at times.
Yeah. Someone made it in his honor, right? They made it for his honor. I don't remember offhand. I think there was a group of people that went together to kind of make something that would be good.
Yeah.
And that's the problem you have.
Right. Like I said, we have bullets for broken concentration. I want to say it's the Starship Levitation combo, which will put it lost.
Right.
The virtual altar is good against it. I know that's what Ryan Saracen played against me in one of our matches for the Texas Mini Worlds. He played altar to cancel it. I had the oppressive enforcement shield out, so it wasn't used, but still, there are answers to the cards. It's just if you don't have those answers specifically in your deck, it's not fun to play against.
Well, an altar requires you to have a character on the table, and if you can never deploy anything or be able to save
get beat down
in the battle because you ran out of force because they have first strike on the table, it leads to a lot of unfun times. But I know that's something that they're definitely taking a look at it, and it does see a lot less play. Now I was in a while.
Yeah, I mean, Casey Lay beat me pretty badly in our league game because I was playing CCT, and I was kind of limited in what I could do. But then he brings down the Reflections 3 Leia that hasn't really been seen that much, and I've got a bunch of aliens, and what do you do? So
Right.
that's part of the meta adjusting, I think, is that at Texas
Yeah.
nobody thought about CCT, and now all of a sudden, Casey's a good player and goes, odds are Scott's playing CCT. Let me throw this in, or just even if I'm not
Just
playing
because,
that,
yeah.
Leia is a fantastic card, and unless you're playing Tarkin's Bounty, there's not much you can really do about her. And I guess that's the thing, is that these Leias there's so many different ones that are good for the meta.
Yeah.
You can find the one that's going to fit for you,
Right.
and that's a good thing.
And you know what? All those Leias could run Leia's blaster rifle.
Yeah.
Why not?
That's pretty good.
I know what Scott's saying is, when I build QMC, it's like, which Leia route do I want to go? Because they're all good choices, especially in that deck.
Yeah.
You can go, the spy, Senate one, where you get to add a power or Destiny to power attrition, or you could do, Rebel Princess, or you can do General Leia, or there's so many options. Princess Leia even at times has seen play in QMC. Like, it's insane how many different versions of her are good, and it becomes a meta call, and then you're kind of guessing and seeing which way it goes. And as aliens see more play, Rebel Princess comes back.
Yeah, I agree, and that's a good job for Chris, though. Chris and the development team and the design team making good cards that people want to use.
Right.
They're not going to obsolete the old ones.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like Leia's one of the few characters that, I mean, yeah, we have Vader where you can play right now. It's either do you want to play your Space Vader, do you want to play Lord Vader, Vader Enforcer. Okay, there's some variants. Most of the times you see Forcer at this point. Maul right now, the big
every
Maul.
Now and then too. Sorry, you do see EPP Vader every now and then.
Yeah, and you see Choke Vader. Luke, there's only like that one version, like Rebel Scout, unless you're playing Hitco. Leia is probably the most diverse character in our game right now.
Right, like Solo, you just see Solo now. You don't see really Captain Han or any other versions of Han. Chewie almost has become
EPP Chewie.
Yeah, EPP Chewie or Chewie Protector for the game canceling.
Yeah,
Leia's got a bunch of options because I didn't even mention EPP Leia.
Yeah, there's EPP Leia, there's Leia Rebel Princess, there's Leia V, which sees a lot of play now because of ISB. So, there's like so many different Leias, and it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and Luke is really Rebel Scout or Last Jedi, because Diplo and Legend will run Last Jedi. And, I think I ran Last Jedi on my QMC as well, but, there's not a lot of Luke choices right now. Solo Han choices are pretty much just Solo. Like I haven't seen a different Han in so long now.
Maybe we'll see a new Han with. Yeah, I was gonna say set 13 new Han.
Right, it's based on the Solo movie.
That would be cool. Yeah, who knows, right? I mean, and you look at Leia. You look at obviously with the Imperials we saw in Empire, right? With Tarkin and Veers, they've made some really good versions of them, right? The Tarkin that draws up to 6 rarely was ever seen, and then they added that one starting interrupt. Now that Tarkin is really, really useful because it's a good deck too. But the card economy of that deck really, being able to draw cards with that one and the other ISB agent. So it's cool to see some of these cards get used years after, right? I mean, you just don't know when they're going to become popular. I mean, freaking Kraken making them lose force for every ISB agent. It's been a while since we've seen him.
Right. And the Tarkin, I think a lot of times people focused on one version of the card, like Grand Moff Tarkin V is so strong that he even pushed out normal Grand Moff Tarkin, which is also really strong. And I think people a lot of times took the lazy way out and just kept playing the card they knew was good versus the other card. And now, somebody comes out on GIMP and just runs the table with this other one, and it starts to make people go, maybe this is good. Like people weren't really high on Legend, and then, it kind of saw some play over the last couple of weeks before TMW, and then, it took off at that event, and now people are looking at it as a serious contender for one of the top decks on light side.
Well, I mean, when you have players like Greg Shaw, Justin Desai, and Steve Baroni run the table with it as they have,
Oh yeah,
I mean, people are going to look because everybody wants to play a good deck that good players are playing.
You're
Sure.
right. When the scrubs like them do win, then you go, wow, wait a minute. How are the good players like Dan and Scott going to do now?
I mean, Greg Shaw's a scrub. I don't know about the science.
Well, I mean, Greg
What's
Shaw
his
still.
name? Justin Desai? I've heard of
Yeah,
him.
You know, I hear 2 of the 3 of those players are still in the Texas Mini Worlds. So
So I hear.
yeah. I don't know how Shaw keeps advancing, but
Yeah. But in all honesty, you're right. I mean, that's the thing is that good players make good decks almost unbeatable.
right. And
Um,
people. I think with GIMP being more active and seeing more play, people are willing to take chances to build things and try things out that we didn't always have happen.
yeah,
Back in just the paper days. Before we had this really surge of online play that we've had in the last couple of years, and we're seeing things really. People really branching out, and not always just taking the lazy way out, going, well, this Tarkin's the one we've always used, so we should just stick with it. Let's try something else.
I
And
agree.
maybe that's what's needed for Han. Maybe somebody needs to figure out Captain Han and good again or something. But there's so much development in our meta recently that it's actually really fun to watch. Even though we haven't had it, like Scott said really early in this, we haven't had a set and released in so long, the meta's still changing. It still feels like it's fresh,
True.
even though the cards have been here since before the NPC. We've had this set, we haven't had a set released in almost 6 months.
yeah, and you know what? I mean, don't get me wrong. I like that we haven't had a set and people are adapting, but you have to admit though, the meta is kind of at this point a little stale. I mean, you do see a lot of the same characters and a lot of the same decks, especially for light side. Like every light side deck, with the exception, unless you're playing like, no, you know what? I can't even think of a light side deck that doesn't run her. Ray, you see Ray in every light side deck, and I
you
get.
will.
And you
Yeah.
will, because she has 2 really strong cards. Like, there's no reason
Yeah,
not to
and
run.
I understand that, but I'm saying like when you have cards like that, then it kind of slows down and waters down the meta. Whereas like a light side like CCT, you're running almost the same kind of cards that you would do in Court. So I mean, I would like to see new cards to start bumping out like some of those just the same cards. Like I would love to see. I cannot wait for set 13 because, and again, it is solo themed. So you're going to see a lot more smugglers. So what does that mean? Watch your step might make a comeback. So if that's the case, then you're going to see decks that don't run Ray. And I want
I
to see
agree.
that. I want to see that. Like,
Okay.
I mean, we haven't had Watch Your Step be really good in a long time. And
Tom Kelly had long hair.
yeah, I mean, Tom Kelly still played. I haven't seen him play in a while.
he played the OCS like the last 2 months, but
He's played.
But we haven't had Watch Your Step really see a lot of play. It's been a lot of decks that don't have that same kind of character restriction on light, and there's just no reason not to run a Ray at that point. And like she fits into QMC in both ways. Like both versions are great in there in my opinion, and it makes it really tough. But
yeah,
I like you said, I think Watch Your Steps probably coming for making a comeback. We had like there was a time where it was just all Watch Your Steps. So it's nice that the design team gives us a break at times from these decks.
Well, I mean, no, I can't think of a time. I can't think of a time that there wasn't Watch Your Step. I mean, or there. That you were saying that it was always Watch Your Step. Like Watch Your Step V, yeah, that's a different story. But
no, I mean we had Watch Your Step with Chewie's ATST for a while.
But that was before. That was old school. I'm saying
Raiders is always around. If Brian
Raiders is still right. It's still played. It was in fact played at. Yeah, I mean it's been played. But here's what I would say. I would say that I'm curious about the new set too, and I'm looking forward to it. I think lately I've been playing weird cards, right? So I think part of that is I'm looking forward to
Oh,
seeing
shit.
how I can fit some of those weird cards in the new set, in the new
Scott,
deck. Right? That's
Scott,
what it's about.
let's be realistic. When do you not play weird cards?
Yeah, well, I mean, I play Throne Room here and there. I mean,
You play Throne Room with nudgies.
You play Throne Room with like 8 out of commissions.
Yeah, that's true. But
You played Rebel Strike Team with pod racing in it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
With
I-
5
I saw
out of
pod
commissions.
racing
With
today.
5 out of commissions, and we're not talking
Or
about the
just-
combos.
He played 5 out of commissions in that same deck.
Yeah.
So hey,
Not
what's
sure how
going
you
on?
always fit all that in there either. Like that was the
I
thing.
know.
Like, you look at that deck and you're like, how the hell did you fit in 5 out of commission?
How the hell did somebody top 8 with this deck?
Yeah, right. Hey, so let me ask you a question. Speaking of deck challenges, where are we at with some of these things?
Well,
Is there a new one?
there is a new one, but first, before we get to the new one, I want to congratulate one Mr. David Woods for completing the most recent one.
In two
So, in 2 different ways, yes. So the last one, our last deck building challenge was to come up with the most power in a single battle. Well, Dave had a power. He came out and had a battle with 131 power in it. He did post a screenshot showing that he had 131 power, plus he showed the game link. So, congratulations to Dave to accomplishing this.
Well, not only did he just do it with the dark side, I mean,
He did it with the light side,
His
too.
light side was 131 power, but it was like 109 in Battle Destiny or something. Or no,
Yeah, no. So, in his... okay.
109 total, I guess. Is what
In his light side, he had 126 with a Battle Destiny of 104. That's insane.
yeah.
I want to know how he pulled. Like, I'm a little. I want to see how he pulled it off, but
I mean, to get 104, you'd have to draw like 12.
No, the power was 104.
no, the
Oh,
battle was
no,
the
no.
power.
Yeah, no, he posted. I thought it said on there it was 104.
No.
to his-
So yeah, he also got to 126 power with light side in a game with a 104 total Battle Destiny.
How is that possible?
I don't know, and I want to know.
I mean, if you draw 10 destinies, you have to average 10.4 to get to
Yeah.
104. So he had to have drawn like 15 destinies.
Well, congratulations to, so first of all, congratulations to Dave to doing this. Second of all, that's going to make it interesting because our next challenge is, I want you to see who can draw the most Battle Destiny without having, in total. So basically, I want to see how many Battle Destiny you can draw in a single battle. You cannot have a cancel, so you cannot do a cancel redraw, so that will only count as one Destiny. So with like Luke Rebel Scout, you can take him into hand to draw and cancel. That only is the one Destiny. So close call again. It's only one Destiny. So I just want to see how many Destiny you can get in a single battle.
So the way to look at it is hyperdrive. Hyperdrive, if you keep redrawing, it doesn't count as extra destinies. So
I thought Dan had said you couldn't count redraws.
right, so
Yeah.
that's what I mean. So basically, how many final destiny do you draw?
Yes.
Okay,
Without not counting redraws.
right.
The redraw count still only counts as that one destiny.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, perfect. I think I had 7 earlier against somebody. They hated me.
Well, I mean,
I think
maybe
we're gonna see a lot of evac control and justice this week.
maybe.
just to be that guy to annoy everybody trying to complete the challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy, absolutely. Nice. Well, hopefully someone will be able to come up with some ideas. I think off the top of my head, I'm thinking Prophet is usually the easiest because you can pull all the characters and pull all the interrupts from your use pile. So you can use like Skywalkers.
Skywalkers, protectors,
I know. All that
yeah, stuff like that.
EPP characters that add with other ones.
Yeah, like
And then Mahdi.
yeah, with
Well,
Dark
like
Collaboration.
Leia adds with Han. Han adds with Luke, I think, or something.
Yeah.
So,
I like Tarkin and Mahdi and Dark Collaboration. There you go.
I don't know what
Maybe.
that version does.
Adds to Destiny.
And
Fair enough.
Tarkin is with Mahdi or
Yeah.
Tarkin or Tagi.
Yeah.
So I'm sure with those, and there'll be some ideas. I think the Death Star sectors adding a Destiny with maybe Fett and Fel. There's some cool ideas
Yeah.
for that.
You could do Bring 'em Before Me with the Emperor's Power to add a Destiny as a guarantee add as well.
And then I Have You Now gets 2 more, and Maul. I had somebody play Maul Strikes, I Have You Now, and the Sector against me last week, I think, against TTO. And I had,
Wow.
what's her name? I had Ahsoka in space, and he added, 4 Destiny? 1, 2, 3, I don't know, 5 Destiny, some ridiculous number. So, there's a lot of ideas. Broken Fett, obviously, can do it with Greedo or IG-88, and, so it'll be cool to see some of those ideas.
Just even broke that Vader and I Have You Now is already 5 Destiny draws or 4.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah. I was gonna say you should remember that. That was all over after Reflections 3 came out.
Absolutely. Yeah, Fett and Vader and I Have You Now. Absolutely. So Dan, do you mind if I talk about my tech card that I like, that I want to talk about?
Please go ahead.
So Matt, basically I have a group of people that we build the Jedi testing deck and tweaked it, and then we put together the deck with the musicians. And so Matt Lutz came up with the idea called Cover Charge because of Lear and Karen. So I don't know if you can bring up a picture.
Lee and Karen. Yes.
So the idea is use Greta, who makes all your musicians deploy -1, and then use Scum, which makes them deploy -1 more. And the idea is you play 15 musicians, and but at one time usually you'll have 4, 5, or 6 together at a site, and Lear and Karen adds 1 to the deploy and movement of every other musician. So if you've got 4 other musicians, now they're paying 4 to deploy there. If they want to move to you, you pay 4. So the deck really does well against No Idea. You don't even need the effect, because what will happen is you can go to their 2-1 site with E-Font on, and then they can't really move there or deploy there. And then you put Lear and Karen with a whole bunch of musicians at the site with the effect.
No.
And you play the other musician that adds +X to battle. And before you know it, they really can't do anything.
That's insane. I don't like this.
So it's a good card. It's really
I don't like
good
it.
card.
I don't like it. I mean, I like it. I like the creativity, but I don't like the possibility of playing against it.
Even today, Casey beat me pretty badly, but he had to pay 7 to deploy Leia to the audience chamber to clear it because of Lear and Karen. And then, against mains, obviously, you play Lear and Karen, and then you play Rapatune, I think, or one of them adds +X to battle then on top of that. So if you do get through, then you've got to pay +X more to battle. It's just it's silly.
It sounds silly, but you know what? I'm going to say this. Matt Lutz and that entire New Ally crew are coming out with some interesting cards. I want to say it was Drew Lich. Drew Lich. He came up with the idea of putting Finger and Dan into court.
Fingering Dan.
What a card.
It sounded like you said Fingering Dan. I was just
mean Argwin Dan.
Yeah.
I can't say anything. It's you, so, that's what you want to say, go for it.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Liren is a good card. I'd
It
love to
is.
see more musicians in the future, but obviously, I tried building the light side version, and they're horrible.
I haven't touched musicians since they almost killed Star Wars back with OV and all.
Oh, yeah. That was a fun deck.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
dark side ones, none of them are virtual. So it's all
Yeah.
that's how Decipher put those stupid cards out. So they're insanely powerful.
We killed off Richard's musician that he virtualized, Snice Noodles or whatever. He had virtualized her, and
Really? Okay.
yeah, because he played her in a deck just to say he played her.
Later. Okay. But it's fun to play her. So if you ever have musicians, that's the linchpin of the deck.
Is she your rep for my kind of scum?
No, you use Greta, because Greta can pull the Rhodians in your control phase.
Okay, interesting.
And he pulls Dodo, Greedo, she pulls Dodo and Greedo, and then the Rhodian. So
Yeah,
that's the better choice. You can retrieve the Rhodians.
right. And Greedo is insane. So
Yeah. So being able to pull them though are nice, and then retrieve them with my kind of scum if you battle and things like that. So
yeah,
because he can deploy as a react and soak up
for
damage.
free.
Yeah, for free.
If it's
And then
-1, and Greedo is -1 for Rhodians at her site more. So
well, and
Okay.
Scum is
yeah,
he deploys cheap from Scum too, doesn't he?
yeah.
So,
yes, he does. He does. So
He's-
that's my fun thing on musicians. Thank you.
Okay. So let's get off of Scott's favorite cards now. We'll switch gears over into swing and a miss for a little bit. And then the only thing we got left today is just my favorite segment, the lore challenge. So we'll do swing and a miss first, and then we'll go into our lore challenge with Scott. So
Okay.
starting off with,
Scott can do the lore challenge.
I hope, I really hope, or I'm going to be really sad.
Go.
Okay, so swing and a miss, or it's a hit. Justin Desai is the odds-on favorite right now to win Texas Mini Worlds.
All right.
Robbie?
So, Dan.
Sorry. My dog is just throwing up everywhere, so hold on.
Okay. Yeah. So let's let Robbie pause for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all want to go take care of this. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Yep. All right. So I think, can you show the top 8 in the video?
So yeah, let me pull it up really quick. But if you want to start, do you want to say who? Okay, so I'm going to show who's on this.
So I know Matt's in there. I know Greg's in there. I think, listen, one of the problems with being Justin is that he is going to be the odds-on favorite of any event. He's won that short list of people that have the ability to win. I do think, though, and one of the reasons that we went to the random top 8, where we went top 4 playing top 4, bottom 4 playing bottom 4. Remember that change that we did for the events?
Yeah.
Part of that was the feedback from Justin. And I think it was a good thing, because one of the problems is, it wasn't as enjoyable to stay up all night while everyone else is hanging out and having a good time, to have somebody build a deck with like 20 cards just to beat you.
Yeah.
So I think it's more enjoyable this route. So I think, now, because of the fact that he's had some time, he didn't have to stress over it, any of these guys. I think Justin is obviously the favorite. I think by far, because of the fact that it's not like he has to stress over, the 12 hours from now he's going to be playing again and someone's going to tweak all their decks. I think he had time to relax, build the deck that he wants, and not stress over it. I think that's going to make it much more enjoyable for him, and he's going to play a lot better because of that.
Yeah. So I'm going to piggyback on that and say, yeah, I agree that Justin is going to be prepared. He's been playing a lot on Gemp. Like, if you're on Gemp, he's always asking people to play certain matchups. So he's getting ready for those matchups.
Right.
The only thing that I think is not going against him per se is, well, first of all, he's playing against MHT in this current round. MHT is playing really well. He did just beat Bastion. And looking on the other side, Joe Olsen is playing well. He upset Steve Baroni. There's a lot of other good players on the other side. So, but you know what? Looking at it, Justin was one of my players to make the top 2 originally. I would like to see. I mean, I'm not going to say I would like to see either way. I mean, I'm rooting for everybody at this point. I don't know. Like, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's tough to pick against him because of his pedigree. But at the same time, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make it and win.
Well, here's what I would say. Listen, obviously, Matthew is fantastic, right? And all these players are here for a reason. I think that I think if you had to pick who you didn't want to play against, it would be Justin. So I think that alone, listen, Justin obviously is used to the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
He's a basketball coach in his real life.
Yeah.
So he knows what it's like to see people have pressure. And I think that he
Mm-hmm.
knows he can handle the pressure. He has no problem with it. And, Matthew, maybe it's been a little while. He did do well in the NPC, I know. But at the same time, I think with Justin in time, he kind of reminds me of Batman. Right? Given enough time, Batman can always overcome the problem. So
Wow.
I think Justin is kind of the same way.
That's
right?
fair.
Justin
I like
is a
that.
good card, and he's had time to kind of decide what he wants to do.
That's fair. I like that. Okay. So on to question number 2. Still sticking with Texas Mini Worlds for right now.
Yep.
The team of the new allies. So they have currently 4 people in the top 8. Those 4 are Matt Lutz, Greg Shaw, Bill Kafer, and Mike Kessling. So that team as a whole will have at least 2 players in the top 4. Caveat with Matt Lutz and Greg Shaw playing to get in, that's a guarantee right there. So it's going to come down to either Bill Kafer or Mike Kessling.
Sorry. Here's what I'll say. What was the question, though? I didn't know what the question is. You were just talking about them.
Okay, so the question is that the new allies will have at least 2 players in the top 4 for the Texas Mini Worlds.
Oh, you're saying 2 of the 4? Well, that means that Kessling or
Bill.
Kafer also have to win.
Yeah.
Man. It's funny. Kessling used to always play court decks.
Mm-hmm.
And Kipple beat the crap out of my musician deck. But I doubt that he's going to play that, right? Obviously, they kind of hedge their bets and figure out.
Well, I mean, that team is...
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I'm going to say no. I think that Olsen and Brad are going to win.
Okay. I'm not holding anything back against the new allies. That team is loaded. I want to say they're at least 16 players deep, so they do their research. And with Drew on their team, Drew is one of those people who looks at the game a lot differently. I like, I'm going to say it this way, I like at least one of those 2 to make it. And I want to say
that will be 2. That means it's
I think it's going to be a hit from me, from what I'm saying, and I'm going to say it's going to be Kessling and Matt Lutz. CRG, there's something going on with CRG. That dude is playing out of his mind right now, and I love it. I was in the top 16, and if it wasn't me to make it, I want to see Matt Lutz make it, because the dude is just he went from out of nowhere, essentially, beat Bastion to win Bastion's pod. And he went 4-0 in that pod, when that pod was really stacked.
Yep.
And now he's in the top 8. So I'm riding that Matt Lutz train, that CRG.
Well, I listen, Matt, obviously Greg and Kafer and I go long back, and I know why everybody on this list. Who am I kidding? Matt's one of the people that helped with the original Mind What You've Learned deck, and he's the one that came up with the term cover charge, because if you got to ask, you can't afford it, and so that's the thing. I would say that I don't know who's going to win between those 2. I'd love to see Matt win.
Mm-hmm.
Greg's been there enough. Let's see what Matt can do. But I do think that Olsen and Kipple, I'm going to say they're going to win this time. I'm going to go out on listen, obviously any of them can win. But I just think I'll go with it. I'll stick with it. I'll be that guy to throw everybody else under the bus.
Okay. I like it. Okay. Question number 3. Menace Fade is currently the most important light side card in the current meta.
So back when ISB, pre-virtual cards, right?
Mm-hmm.
What you would do is you make a -1 and then you'd play Imperial Decree. So you basically shut off their drains bonuses, and then you also make all their drains -1, and they do nothing to you. It completely locks down the opponent. Menace Fades is similar with projection. So if you can projection to sight and Menace Fades, and you're playing QMC, you're playing Watch Your Step, you play, decks that have that system, no idea, where you can lock that down. You can completely lock down them decks, especially ISB right now where it's +1. There's still a whole lot of lightsabers floating around. So I would agree that is the one card. If you're playing anything with a system and a sight, and you're playing a balanced deck right now, you absolutely need to play it.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you there. I mean, I think there's a lot of other cards. The big one to me has always been Walkling. Walkling is one of the best cards. However, I mean, Walkling isn't always, so in the current meta, I wouldn't put it as the number one. I like projection, I really do, because it makes players, especially the dark side players, have to think outside of how they're going to get those drains in. You see in ISB, a lot of the ISB players used to go with like the Endor sights for the +1. Well, now they're starting to go with Cloud City because projection can't be played on Cloud City. So there's that. You see players trying to do stuff like in CCT. There's the Hot Influence cards that says as long as you have two aliens at a Tatooine site, they can't reduce your drains. So there's that. So it's making dark side players having to adapt around it. So projection right now, I would say, is just as big, if not more important than Menace Fades, because it can be slotted into almost any deck. Because, like you said, with Menace Fades, you have to control a site and a system. Well, projection, you don't have to. You can just throw it down and forget about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they go hand in hand. Obviously, it's 1A, 1B. I think those cards are really good, especially at Walkling being able to pull it. It's just a useful thing. And with CCT being huge, obviously Darkseid could always throw in an altar nowadays to stop Hot Influence.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes. I'm curious to see if any of these final 4 games will throw any of those tricks in.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of switching gears, Darth Vader Enforcer is the most important Darkseid card in the current meta.
Absolutely not. That card is horrible.
Excuse me. Thank you.
That card is horrible. Right now, everybody's playing Padme. Everybody and their mother is playing Padme. So, it may basically, unless you're playing Maul to cancel Padme's game text, Vader's game text is useless right now. I just think that Vader is not as good as he should be right now because of Padme.
I think you're right along that. Don't get me wrong, Vader's still really, really good because it makes people have to come down and play Padme. If you're not worried about Vader, you're not going to play Padme. That's how it comes down to. I don't know. What do you think is more important than Vader?
I think the new Maul is really good right now, right? The one that they can't mess with your weapons because of the fact that the Trade Federation works with Newt, who also stops Padme. I think that those 2 key cards, Maul and the Newt, are really making the light side have to adjust what they do. I think Vader, obviously, he's important with I Am Your Father, the effect, but I think you have to make sure Vader's not by himself. In any situation, you need to make sure that he's with one of those characters of support cards to make sure that they're okay, or else he's dead. So I just think that there's more important stuff right now. I think the new Maul is really good, and Newt is probably the best support character Darkseid can play right now, other than the typical Dr. E and stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's funny because looking at the chat, King of Jokers actually came up with the same card that I did, and I'm going to 100% agree. Imp Decree, 100%. It's such a versatile card because, one, with no idea being the clear-cut light side best deck, it's going to limit the amount of damage. Not only that, and people seem to forget about this with Decree, is you can throw down any character, and with Decree, as long as you have Decree on the table, you can draw Destiny. Yeah, you have to put it out of play, but you're getting a Destiny. So you could go down like with, just off the top of my head, Dr. Afra. You could throw her down to the Yavin 4 War Room, or
War Room, yeah,
or the 2-0 site. You can get a droid back. You can throw the droid at another location, and you could leave her there by herself and not have to worry as long as you have decree on the table. Now, I mean, in the long run, you have to do the math. If you throw the decree out of play, is it going to affect like your Stardust damage, for example, or the damage from WAP or Profit? So
Right.
there is that,
Yeah.
and
I agree. As far as characters, I was thinking Maul and Newt. For cards, yeah, by far, Imperial Decree is really, really key right now, without question.
I mean, for characters, you know what? I'm going to say this: like, one of the better characters and is seeing a lot more play because of CCT is the Tatooine Darth Maul. Like, Lightside is not running a lot of those ability 4 big characters in space right now. So being able to blank their system, well, one, it gets rid of Menace Fades, and two, if you outside of that, he comes down really cheap on the Infiltrator, and you can use him on the ground. So he's really, really good against No Idea.
I like that. Yeah, I like it, especially because I mean, you float a Rey usually. You've got maybe Luke. I don't. What else is he playing?
Leia.
Leia would be ability 4.
Chirrut is the other one that I can think of.
Chirrut, yeah. So but not in space. It's kind of. I mean, you could, but he's not a pilot, so obviously you're trying to. And Ezra's ability 4. So I mean, there are some cards, but typically, No Idea doesn't want to put them in space, right? They'll put Luke, and they'll put Leia maybe, if they have to.
Yeah, but exactly.
Well, they usually No Idea usually runs Space Luke anyway.
Right.
A lot of it. So they're happy to throw him in space anyways. So, it's Darth Maul is something I'd like to see come back more, but we've just made so many good ability 4 pilots now that it's hard to play them.
Yeah.
Maybe if Watcher Step comes back big, they don't have that many other than
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, and then for the last question, we're going to talk a spoiler card really quick. The spoiler Rock. So Rock, the new weapon from Set 13, is going to be the most popular light side card from Set 13.
Do you have the text for it you can put up?
I do not. So hold on, let me see if it's available on the forums yet, because.
I think it was only spoiled on the podcast. I didn't see
Yeah, and I think you're right. But
I think what Dan's trying to allude to, though, more is people are going to enjoy playing this card because it's called The Rock.
Well, not only that, it's not... Okay, so for those who don't know, Rock is a Destiny 5 weapon. It's a character weapon. It's also an Ewok weapon, so you can play in your Ewoks. Deploy on your warrior or Ewok. May throw by placing it into the use pile to target a character. For the remainder of turn, target is power -3. And if used against Proxima, she cannot battle. If on a Corellia in a battle just initiated at same site, may throw Rock. So, first of all, it's kind of interesting because, one, it gets rid of Proxima, and she's a really, really good character in Court and in CCT. Two, it's not a unique weapon, so you could have like 5 or 6 rocks in your characters. It's a Destiny 5. If you throw them all, you play cards like Aim High, the effect, so you're getting a lot of power in your battle. There's just so much use for this one card.
I'm curious how it can work with what's the Gungan Tarpals?
Yeah.
You can throw it with the Gungan Energy Shield and Eopies.
Target becomes land speed 0 and power -3. Can you use more than one character weapon?
If they have more than one warrior icon, I believe.
Oh, baby. Is this a light side card?
It's a light side card. Rock.
Are there any light side characters with 2 warrior icons?
Yes. You're going to ask me what? I don't know, but there are some.
Quick, Robbie, find them.
Are there? Okay. Because, I can think of this. Like, I think that only deploys on Tarpals, but you can use...
No, well, Tarpals doesn't say anything specific.
Ahsoka has 2.
Yeah, Ahsoka. The new Ahsoka.
EPP one has two.
Can you use 2 rocks on her?
Yes. Sabine has 2.
Say Sabine would-
Okay. I like this. Sabine can fire the gun and use the rock.
Yeah.
Look, and
And-
it can go use to forfeit for 3.
Yep.
Chris Westergaard has been using a deck that uses Leia's gun, Sabine with the stun blaster, because she adds 2 to it, and then you use Mandalorian Mishap to pull them. So
Yep.
I would be really curious to see her use the rock, then put 1 character into your hand, and now all of a sudden your power -3 and 1 character's gone, and Leia shoots somebody.
Yeah. And like I said, use the effect aim high. So if you fire 2 non-lightsaber weapons in a battle, you get power +5. So you're subtracting 3 from their total power, and you're adding 5 to yours. That's an 8 power difference.
And
then
Tanaka.
you play Light Side Senate, and then you Senator Palpatine, their Destiny draw, add 3, subtract 3, you're golden.
I like Tanaka too. Tanaka makes power +3 when you hit somebody, and they lose 2. I think we just found a deck. Senate,
Yeah.
Tanaka, Ahsoka, and Sabine. And Leia with gun.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to make Sabine work with a QMC build a couple of times. Firing that weapon twice with the Cloud City sight that lets you fire your blasters at exterior Cloud City sites.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I think Sabine, with all those cards with Mandalorian Mishap times 4, 5. Just pull all the blasters. Send them used with inconsequential. Saitor, inconsequential, Walkling. Or no, aim high. You got to start aim high. Don't even need Walkling.
Right.
With
and then
Senate,
you can slight weapons malfunction to add a Battle Destiny.
Yeah.
I think this is good.
So,
Senate,
and again,
what else can a QMC? I think is the best because you can pull cards.
Yeah.
Use pop.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you have to play on Cloud City though, but I guess that's probably not a problem.
Can't you just fake out Cloud City? Just play enough to flip and then go wherever they are.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to flip sometimes though.
Oh, come on. You can do a first turn flip.
You have to control the sites.
I've seen Tom Kelly get a first turn flip.
Yeah, but there are only like 4 or 5 characters that deploy for free in Cloud City or in QMC now, and you have to control the 2 sites. Like the problem is you have to control those sites to flip your objective.
Okay, that's a little too much, but that's fine. So we can play Senate and I don't know. We're just play a whole bunch of Rays and Profit.
There you go.
Play the use file searches. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I like
so
it.
yeah.
Rock seems pretty cool. I don't know. It'll be useful. Someone will break it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Then you can weapon lev it back to your hand.
Yeah.
So.
You throw it, you send it to
Can
use.
weapon lev it?
Yeah, because it's in your use pile.
Yeah, after you throw it, it's in your use pile.
Yeah.
Geez. Here's what they need. They need to make a Ewok that stops vehicles with that weapon, that can use it and hit vehicles with it. Didn't they do that in the movie? Or no, that was trees. Tree. That's the next one.
Log.
Log.
It's big, it's heavy, it's wood.
I like it. I like where we're going with this.
Okay, so we got one more segment, and then we got one more segment, and then we're gonna call it a night. This is again my favorite part of the segment, the show. Scott, are you currently watching on Twitch at all?
No, let me turn it off. I had it on earlier because I wanted to see the top 8.
Okay. So again, this is going to be the lore challenge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what the side is, and I'm going to tell you what the type of a card it is. Then I will read the lore to you, and then you just have to tell me what the card is.
You're gonna, okay.
Okay. I will be. Here is the card. It
Hey, real quick before you do this, if I had Comlink up.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. That's cheating.
I could cheat, but I won't.
Hey, Scott, I think you need to replace your glass on your phone. I saw it was cracked.
Yeah, it's cracked. That's okay.
Okay. So
if you haven't met Scott, Scott always has a cracked phone.
That's fair.
I'll tell you
Okay.
a funny story. My favorite moment when I was Kyle Kruger was reading a book on his iPad one night when I was staying in the room with him. It was like his phone or his little phone, and it was cracked.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the screen was blacked out because it was broken. So he was like reading the book on the bottom half of the screen, and I thought that was so amazing. Because when I've broken my phones, they just break. I don't get lucky like that, where part of the screen will work.
Nice.
So,
Okay,
sorry.
so again, here is your card. It's currently being shown on the screen. Your card is a dark side creature.
Okay.
Remember, it's a dark side creature.
Yeah, there's
He
about
got
10
a hint?
Huh?
He got a hint?
There's
Everybody
about
gets this hit.
10 to 12 dark side creatures. It doesn't really help.
So,
This is like on off.
okay.
I mean, Scott's not DDO, so it might
Yeah.
still be hard.
Okay. The lore is fast-moving, insect-like pest. Scavenges in rocky, secluded habitats.
Oh, that's easy.
Hides in shadows and attacks when surprised. Nearly 1 meter long.
Oh, that's easy. That's the freaking one that's 3-dotted. It's a 3-dotted creature. It's the one. It's not the Scurrier, is it? No, that's the diamond. Gosh, it's the one that deployed from reserve deck with the starting effect that we made years ago. Womp Rats.
Is that your final answer?
No, that doesn't make. Yeah, I'll go with Womp Rat.
No.
Damn, is it the Scurrier?
No.
Rockwort.
Rockwort. Yep, Rockwort.
It was the other one. Okay,
Yeah.
Scurrier is the light side version. I was thinking of what's the one that had 3-dotted that would deploy from reserve deck?
The Womp
Maybe
Rat.
it was a virtual one.
Womp Rat's 3-dotted.
Was it Womp Rat? Yeah, it was the Womp Rat I was thinking of. Damn it. Okay.
I was thinking, I wanted to give you Nudgy just to see if you knew what the lore was.
I would have probably known that one.
Yeah.
Damn.
But-
Nice. Very nice. Well, I appreciate you giving me the chance to screw up again.
Wompat has rodents in the lore, so that might have
Yeah.
been a better clue for it.
Yeah, rat, rodent. Yeah. Damn. Well, thank you for making
Well,
a fool
thank
of
you.
me again.
Oh, I didn't make a fool of you. I mean, now you have to play a deck with Rockwarts. Yeah.
Is that even in GIMP? I'll gladly try it.
I don't know. I do not know.
It's in GIMP.
Is
Okay.
it?
Yeah, I mean.
There you go.
It lets me put it in there, and it doesn't error message that I can't play this card for any other reason.
Okay. So I'm going to have to go on its Rockwort, huh?
Yep,
Yeah.
Rockwort.
So that's funny. Planet sites, it goes to any planet.
Yep.
Ferocity, at any bluffs or canyon. Okay, that's not going to help.
You're not going to play the bluffs and bluff people?
All right, maybe.
Rockwarts?
Or at the canyon. What canyon? Beggar's Canyon?
Beggar's Canyon, yeah.
Yeah. Tuscan Canyon?
Uh,
Jawa Canyon? There you
Beggar's
go.
Canyon,
All right.
Hut Canyon, Jawa Canyon, Tuscan Canyon. Yeah. Okay, so that was our show for tonight. Again, I want to thank Robbie for being my co-host, and I want to thank Scott for coming on as the guest star. Next week we will have Jerry on as our co-host. I don't know if we have a guest, but look to say it's probably going to be somebody from the Texas Mini Worlds Top 8. See who we can get on for that. I know Greg Shaw has said that he's willing to come on, so maybe we'll get Greg Shaw on. And again, I want to thank everybody for watching. Get on GEMP, play some games, commentate on the games if you want, and we will see everybody next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a
Good night.
one.